Hey, this is Gene. I do my weekly Cucks of the Week, and I thought it was a very easy one this week. I thought it was going to be Paul Ryan, and I think it's still going to be. But I need to get something out there because there's a meme that goes out saying something that Paul Ryan said, and he didn't say it. And our movement has to be better than people that continually share stuff like this and believe this. Now, I don't like Paul Ryan. I think he is a cuck. He's one of the biggest ones of all time. And I think you understand which one I'm talking about. He was talking about Antifa, and this is the thing that went out, and I'll read it to you really quick. It says, "Do I agree with Antifa tactics? No, of course not. But I agree with their core values. Antifa stands for the greater global good, and so do I." He didn't say this. And unfortunately, somebody that I really like, one of the few celebrities that actually talks about, doesn't necessarily go to the alt-right area, but he is very hardcore conservative, is James Woods, who retweeted this and shared it. And he has a lot of followers, and a lot of people fell into it. Now, I'm not saying that Paul Ryan didn't say anything, because he did. He said something after the president's what I thought was a great speech about there are people on both sides that were doing bad things that day, and we have to, I called it out. Millennial woes are kind of, some of the people in the alt-right have talked about this. The optics are not good. They're not having like Nazi imageries there, or the KKK or other things. So he called it out, and what I'm talking about is Trump, and he went after the reporters because reporters had their own bias on this. They believe that Antifa apparently is, because if you look at all these little things they did online, they showing the Antifa equating it to the guys that landed at Normandy in World War II. This, and why that they should have lost their jobs. These people all have their certified checks on Twitter. They're journalists and they're all activists, and they think Antifa is like the guys that storms the beach at Normandy, and they're like 80 or 90% of them got killed on the beach. Fuck them for saying shit like that. I can tell you right now that those guys that did that, if they were still alive today, would not be supporting Antifa. This is just, and people should have called it out a lot more. But I'm going to say exactly what, as well as I can, what Ryan said after his speech. And yes, a lot of it's kumbaya bullshit, because he has some people in his district that he has to help. He's not really a conservative, but I'll go ahead and say it. This is Paul Ryan after the speech. "I still believe that there's hate exists only on the fringes. I agree with that. And the one that really has the powers in this country that can do stuff with their hate are the people on the left. And when the media and some of the politicians and the president before somewhat said it was okay to be that way, we'll see who actually has more power right now. But so as long as it exists, we need to talk about it. Of course we should. We need to call it out for what it is. And we should on both sides, Paul. And so as long as it is weaponized, we fear and terror, we need to confront it and defeat it." Okay, again, that's a politician. Then he actually had a shot at Trump, and this is what we should be upset about, not some bullshit that's not true about what he said at Antifa. This is why we need to make it clear there is no moral relativism when it comes to neo-Nazis. He is equating the people that were marching in Charlottesville, that most of them are neo-Nazis. Most people in the alt-right have either disavowed or said it's not good for the optics to have it there. Some people have said, like Millennial Woes, which I think he's wrong here. It's rare, but I think he was here. He said that we should be able to keep him in our group because we have the left has got Antifa. I think that's a wrong way to go. But obviously, he's somewhat a leader in this movement. I understand what he's talking about. But the people that were marching in Charlottesville, 99% of them were Trump supporters, and some people that were marching for Southern heritage, and they were going there to support and the protest of taking down a statue. Now there was people that were hanger-ongers that are, I guess, could be racist. I guess, I don't know. Okay, there is no relativism when it comes to neo-Nazis. Of course, what he's talking there. He's virtual signaling to Jewish people by doing that. We cannot allow the slightest ambiguity on such a fundamental question. This is the same thing. He's saying, look, Jewish, I got it. Jews, I got it taken care of. Because both parties are run by Jewish people. I don't. This is clear, and it's been going on forever. And people can call me anti-Semitic for saying it, but it's clearly true. This is a test of our moral clarity. The words we use and the attitudes that we carry. The words that we use. That concerns me. And why he's a cuck, because it sounds like that he's not really about free speech. We saw what happened in Boston. 20,000 people came out and went against the people that were actually talking about free speech. The media didn't talk. The people inside that little gazebo, almost of them were leftists. They're Black Lives Matter people. And I guess they were on the wrong side because they were talking about free speech. The people on the outside were actually protesting free speech. So anytime there's a free speech event, the media is going to say that's because that's where white supremacists are. And then the politicians are like, oh my God, we have to say it's not good. And if you don't think that our speech can be limited, look at what happened in Europe in the last 40 years, especially after the Second World War. And on certain areas, again, Holocaust, you can't talk about it. And they just take it from there. Because, of course, they're always victims. And this is what happens in this country and around the world. The words we use and the attitudes that we carry. So is he saying that it's something that it's endemic in the United States, that we're all racists, that people are all white supremacists? I mean, maybe I'm taking too much into it. But anyway, at the end, she says we need to fight to eliminate hate. But it's not a side of the story. We must and do better. We owe it to Heather Heyer and all of our children. Again, that's kumbaya bullshit. The reason why there's marchings like this and why our kids are actually waking up is because there is either it's convert or it's in our face that says they want to race, they want to get rid of us. So we're going to keep marching, regardless of what somebody like Paul Ryan does. I hope that he loses his Senate seat, and I think he has a chance that he will. I also want to talk before I go about Tucker Carlson. Now I watch him, and I think he's kind of cool. Obviously, he's not white enough. That's good. A little fruity in there. He's not really awake when it comes to the alt-right. There was a guy who was part of the alt-right, and he said something last night on Twitter. Now, hopefully I'll put it below so you can look at it. Or I'll just send you his Twitter feed so you can find it. He basically said that Carlson is like a supporter of the alt-right download kind of thing. You can't really say it. Because sometimes he talks about things about Antifa and all that shit. But last night he had a person in there that was basically supporting the demands from Black Lives Matter, saying that white people should basically give their inheritance to white people or black people or people or marginalized things. And he kept stopping the woman saying, why is it always based on race? Why is everything all racist? I have nothing common between somebody who's from New Zealand who looks like me, who might be a citizen of New Zealand and comes to America. I have nothing in common with him. How can that possibly be? If he's a supporter of the alt-right, which he's not, of course. The same thing with Trump. Of course, Trump isn't either. But there is this fundamental thing that says we come from the same tribes. The people that went to New Zealand, they went there, they were from European stock, just like we are in this country. So there is a kindred spirits between us. And when people like that who just kind of like throws it off to the side, because he talks about the human race and stuff like that. And you know what? That would be all fucking great if that's actually what's going on. I said it before. There is a convert planned to get rid of us. It's everywhere. Right now they just do it online. They don't care. They know that this is what's going to happen, and that's what they want to have happen. But unfortunately, or fortunately for us, unfortunately for the rest of them, is that our kids are waking up, and all we can do is get our movement out there and spread it, and be factual. We can't allow something like what Ryan said and saying it's something that we believe, or if he said something like that we just go after him. We should go after against people who have but the ideas that are not right to preserve the white race or the rest of civilization. Now, of course, I believe Ryan is a globalist, and I think that he would do anything for money, and he has people around him that are influencing him as well. And unfortunately, in the White House, we have that too. And unfortunately, it's his daughter that's been a bad influence on the president. That's about it. It's a big weekend this weekend when it comes to sports, just to let you know. I mean, I'm a Florida State fan. I also respect Alabama. I've seen a lot of their games. Don't know what to think what's going to happen. It doesn't really matter. He wins his first game. I hope it'll be close. Because there's a good chance that both teams are going to play each other again in the playoffs later on. And I've been down this road before. After we beat Florida in '96, we had to play them in the championship game, and they beat us. So even if we win this weekend, doesn't mean anything, really. We may end up playing them again. And when it comes to the playoffs, it'll be the more important thing than what's going on. I just want to make sure that the kids come out, do as best as they can, and it's a good game. Please share this and like it. We got to get a message out there. I don't have a huge footprint, but a couple people I've actually woken up, and that's all I can really do for what I do. And a lot of people do actually talk to me on here. So you guys have a good weekend. Thank you for watching, and we'll talk to you next week. Bye.